Welcome to Goldboys Live, presented by Pickett Sports. Sleeper picks, a lot to do. Game 3 of the NBA Finals is in the books. We got some NHL with GriffyBets coming up. But boys, Josh, Brian, I guess we'll just start with last night. And I think the Denver Nuggets won the NBA championship last night. What do you guys think?
Man, we were just talking about LA De La Cruz and like overreactions, and I mean, it's like 31 championship. I think it's
Yep.
I mean we've kind of talked about how Miami might take one of game 3 or 4, but now it really becomes down to it's got to be game 4 or nothing. That's really what it comes down to. Is you don't want to say the whole series is over, but it kind of comes down to game 4. Kind of feels like a subset of game 7.
Yeah. It's game 4. Obviously, it's this series ends in 5 if they lose game 4. Was kind of scared. I feel like just sort of like vocally hedging my Denver in 5 with Jokic to win the MVP by saying like, oh, I think I did have Denver winning this last game, and then I said I think Miami might pull out game 4. But I think the thing that changed for me was Denver clearly is just selling out on 3-pointers, and I love to see that. Like, just dive at them like it's like you're the linebacker diving at a quarterback's feet. Just get them off the line and out of their comfort zone from where they're at. Make them drive, and that's fine. Everybody else, like Jimmy and Bam, they're getting their 2-pointers. And if you want to go 2 for 2 against the Denver Nuggets right now, or destroying them in the paint, I think it's just like I think on defense, Denver figured something out that has me feeling really good about this in 5 now.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's over. I think, and look, we've all counted Miami out a bunch of times, but Miami has not been down in a series like this to Boston or Milwaukee. You got to have to beat Denver 3 out of 4. And out of the 4 games, 2 are in Miami, 2 are in Denver. So you got to win both your games in Miami and win 1 out of the 2 in Denver. I mean, barring an injury, that's asking a lot. And hey, I get your point. If Miami wins game 4, it's best 2 out of 3 and anything can happen. But I'd be shocked at this point if Miami came back and won. I'm kind of back to where I was before game 1, after game 1, where expected Denver to win. And you can really flip this and say, you know what? Denver was up 15 in game 2. They were up 8 beginning of the fourth quarter of game 2. And you know what? We're one bad quarter away from this being Denver 3-0 and looking at a sweep here. To me, Denver's just a much better team. I thought we saw last night too. Denver had a focus in terms of, all right, every time we have the ball, it's going through Jokic or it's going through Murray. We're going to cut out the fat. It's not going to these other guys. We're going to get good possessions, good shots. And the scary thing for Miami, Denver made 5 threes. I think 5 of 18. Guys besides Murray and Jokic went 1 of 10. So, man, you beat us by 15 in our building. You only made 5 threes. I don't know where you go here if you're Miami.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what Miami relies on, too. We talk about all the time. The only reason that you can give some teams, the benefit of the doubt, like a team like Miami or something like that, or just in general, is the 3-point failure in this league. In 2023, it's more than it's ever been. Like, one hot game from 3 can help you steal a game, but we saw last night, one cold game can run you out of the building real fast.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, if Denver can have a cold game and still win like that, I think it does speak to their defense. Like I was, taking a look at like uncontested shots and stuff like that. And Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Kevin Love, none of them had more than 3 like uncontested shots, which is like, a defender within 4 feet, 5 feet, might even be 6, whatever. It's right around there, right? And they're not getting those looks anymore. They're just getting run off the line. I think that was the biggest key, like I keep saying. But we already know Jokic can just kind of score whenever he wants. I think a good – first of all, I guess I owe you an apology, Brian, which I already made to offline about Jokic rebounds. Him to get 20 rebounds at any point in the series was a great bet before this thing started. And it was really good juice last night for him to get 20, and he obviously goes bananas there. Like the points for him, though, I think are you just keep going back to, and they figured that out. Do you like – when you're talking about Murray over there, Will, like do you still feel – comfortable betting plus 240, I think, plus 280 maybe,
plus 275 at Bet Rivers for most assists. Now he held serve with Jokic last night. Jokic had like a 4-assist lead on him last night. At one point, I think it was like 8-4. And I was like, oh, this bet might be cooked, but they rallied back to where it's 10-10 each now. Hey, if there's only 2 games left in the series, if you have a 2-assist lead, let's just say Murray, and this is unlikely, but Murray has like 3 more assists than Jokic in the next game and they win. Yeah. It's kind of over. So, man, plus 275, I am tempted to bet it again.
And we've saw it before where Jokic did have a game with 4 assists. I mean, it's totally like as much as the worry is that he has the explosion, you also have the idea that maybe he has another lower assist game. So it can kind of go both ways. And I wanted to comment on Josh's apology, give it back, only because rather than betting on Jokic's 11.5 rebounds like I wanted to do on Monday on this show, I then bet that parlay I did, which is plus 120. So you saved me the minus 40 juice, and I got an extra plus money win there. So it actually worked out in my favor. So everyone wins. Michael Porter Jr. did one thing last night, and it was rebound for me, and that's all I need. That's all I needed for him. So good for him.
By the way, Brian and I are going head to head here. He has under, what do you have? Over 4.5 Dodgers, Reds,
Yeah,
versus 5. I have under 5. And man, Ashcraft is pitching himself into some trouble. Hit a guy, hit another guy, and then gave up a base hit. And you're always worried about that big blow up inning. It was scoreless coming into third. Felt like it was in good shape. But I'm going to congratulate you on this win, Brian. I think you're going to win this game.
We'll see. We'll see. Honestly, I actually respect the fact that we can be on different sides and not be weird about it, because I have some people that like. It's super strange when it comes to betting, but yeah, I think this is one of those ones where we'll see what happens. I mean, I want the Reds offense to get going a little bit. That's who I thought would get the curse a little bit. They've been smoking lefties, so it'd be a fun to watch. It's the first day of the game. You always got to have some fun for the 12:30 games whenever they you get blessed with them.
Going back to Murray, I think I'm probably going to bet it again because, first of all, it's plus 275, and you have a 2-assist lead. So you got like two things going for you there where I have a lead and I'm getting a plus money bet there. And I guess if they end up tied, it's a dead heat, I would guess. So I kind of have like a 2.5 game lead or a 2.5 assist lead where if I'm okay with a tie still pays me 4-1. Obviously, I'd prefer to win it straight up, but I still think that's a pretty good bet.
I don't disagree that the only thing that obviously keeps creeping in your mind is like the ceiling for assists. But if this is going to be the 2-man game and the usage rate for these two guys is going to be, double that of pretty much everybody else at this point, then, it's like almost 3/4 of the usage rate is going to them. And that's partly why the threes are not there, because even when Jokic gets the ball on the 3-point line, he's like, I don't need to shoot this. We can just go get a 2-pointer real easy. And that's not as often. I think the pick and roll, and like we were saying the other day, not only the pick and roll, but there are a few minutes that Murray's on the floor when Jokic isn't, and he does rack up a few of those assists there. So if you feel, it's more about like, do you feel comfortable with the way Murray's playing? Because Jokic could have another 7 assist, 8 assist game. It's just, do you think Murray keeps pace with that at least 7 to 8 assists per game the rest of the way, essentially?
I mean, at plus 275, I think it's worth a shot. You're getting some odds built in here where I just got to play even here for maybe 2 games. And I do lean towards Denver, and we'll get to that. Denver minus 3.5, total 210.5. It's come down. It's been played at a very slow pace. There's only 2 games left, and I got a 2-assist lead, man. There's a lot of ways to win this bet. So, and there's nobody else really in range to threaten me. So if I have a nice little game here where they play even again, or Murray has 1 or 2 more assists, I can maybe buy back on Jokic. But I do think it's still probably a good bet. 3.5 and 210.5. What do you guys have? You bet anything for game number 4 here?
I have not. I have. Like we kind of mentioned yesterday, we were talking about like, who do you have to bet this and that. I am staying in the player props market for this series. I actually bet some series props for like the rest of the playoffs, but this is a series where, as Will kind of said, as much as you can go all for Denver, I just like I've never bet against Miami, but I know you have, Will. I'm on the same boat with you where I just don't want to do it. I even though I like the number for Denver you're getting here, I would almost rather just bet player props and just watch the game kind of more neutral.
I have a thought. Well, you asked me earlier, Will, when we were on our group chat, we were talking about, I was like, do I hedge like all these bets I have on Denver? And I actually, you asked me if I over bet and on Denver in this series. I said no, because I had a reasonable amount of units on, Jokic to win the MVP plus them to win in 5. I have them at minus 1.5 in the series. They got to win by 2 games. I also have them at minus 2.5 in the series. So I might have lied to you. I might have a little bit too much in them, and that would be the point of the hedge, specifically to win in like 5 games. And that's the only, that's why after game 2, I was like, I'm hitting game 3, Denver minus 2 right away. It got up to minus 4 right before the game started, so I felt good about that. And then, moving forward, I was like, okay, I've got 2-1. I'm a little bit scared to do anything more with Denver right now when I do have as much tied up into them winning specifically in 5 games at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I go through this all the time too, where you make a bet and how can I hedge? How can I middle? Do I got to get off? And sometimes it's just too much. I think we get anxiety as bettors, and it's a mistake. It's a flaw. It's a flaw in my game. I try to, just relax. You made a good bet. You just got to live with it unless you overbuilt or there's something that's changed. I would just stick with it. And I think an important part of it, and again, I struggle with this all the time. You got to be willing to lose too. You know what? You see a way out where I can just get off it. if you want to get off it, then why'd you make it in the first place? So
Yeah.
I think I probably hedged too much, and you got a good bet. You're in good shape here. I mean,
Totally.
it comes to
I think
bankroll
that-
management
I
and
think-
things like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too is also about like, betting what you can lose, and also it's a matter of I actually am with you, Will, too, about like hedging, where the only thing I could think about is unless it's like a last leg, last changing money type thing, or like big
Right.
chunk of money, you just ride it. Yeah.
No, and I had a plan if Denver won game 2, which is what I thought was going to happen. If they won game 2, I had a kind of nice middle where I could pick it. I could hedge the series going 6 with like some specific bets and whatever, but like that didn't happen. Miami won game 2, so I just had to let it ride and go, all right, that was the one Miami's winning. It's still very plausible that Denver wins 3 in a row, so I stick with it in this one. But I do have a thought about the total. It's at 210.5. I did not hit the total in this last game, even though it went under. But I did hit Denver's over 108.5, which I liked. I'm not necessarily feeling overs on either side at this point. I actually think I'm going under on Miami's team total at 104.5, because for the third time, I think Denver figured something out on defense in a way that can get us there. They've gone under 100 twice. And you're really like, do you think they're going to go 15 for 35 from 3? If you do, then yeah, maybe they get over 105. But like I just don't see it happening. They're giving up those 2-pointers in a way that they're fine with, and they're just not letting the shooters shoot.
And then back to Will's point, being uncomfortable to lose. It's almost like you don't want to lose, but if you take it under and you have the reasoning for it, and they hit 43s again, it's just like, you know what, it happens. Like you just can't get too emotional about it.
Plus, you're paying juice on one bet, so you make another bet, you're paying juice on that bet. It's like you're giving the juice away on both of them. By the way, Brian, you got extremely lucky because Ashcraft should have been out of this inning with 1 run. They squeezed him on a strike 3 against Muncie, and then a walk, 2-run single. So Ashcraft has not been, helping himself here. 2 hit batters, a walk, and now a 3-run inning, and this inning has imploded. So you're in good shape here. You're over 4.5.
Yeah, I will say my one.
They are reviewing a plate to plate. I can't see it, but I hope they call him out.
Yeah, I couldn't see him either. But I was going to say, I will say baseball is the one sport where more than any sport in the world, I never get you never count your chickens. Like,
no,
because you could see a guy go, allow 4 runs in the first inning. It's like, oh, we just need 1 more run. And then 8 scoreless. Like, yesterday I had Cabrera's PPD for the Marlins. He was cruising 65 pitches and they had a blister on his hand. So one of those things.
Why he came out?
Yeah, he had a blister on his finger.
His stuff is nasty. My goodness.
Yeah, the Marlins pitching staff is gonna be so well. They're so
deep
well
too.
Yeah,
like even guys like Max Meyer and Sixto Sanchez, who I don't know will ever pitch again. He hasn't pitched in forever, but man, they are just loaded. And Rogers is like they just. And Alcantara's not even pitching well. It's strange. They just loaded with pitching. Anything else on this game before we do hockey? I've noticed Denver seems to be prioritizing defense and not shooters. Porter Jr.'s minutes are getting cut. It's another reason to bet the under. Is there any way for Miami here to like make them pay and just congest the floor and say, hey, somebody other than Jokic and Murray is going to beat us? If Christian Brown beats us, that's fine, but we're going to just make these non-shooters sort of shoot the ball. Is there anything they can do?
I really wish I would have just said, you asked me that the other day and yesterday, and I would have just said, dude, let's just go back to the stars. Cause that was kind of how I finished things, was like, hey, by the way, Murray goes balls off which is not a saying. I don't know why I said that. He goes crazy whenever he has a shitty game. And he did like 2 games ago or 1 game ago. Right. And then he goes off this one. I think you just go back to the stars, man. Like, especially for Denver, I think it's just the stars and the fact that Jimmy and Bam are getting their 2s off because that's what the Denver defense wants. Like, I'm going to bet probably like a Bam over on points, which actually, real quick, let me throw my sleeper pick in before we do get to hockey, because I do have Bam's points in there, and I got Bam at 20.5 points. It's gotten higher. I loved it when it was at 17 and 18.5 points, but it's up to 20.5, and I'm still willing to take it. He's gotten it in all 3. His usage rate's at 27%. I don't see Denver stopping their, switching up the way that they're guarding him and letting him take what he gets there. And I don't see Miami telling him to stop going at Joker and taking those shots. So I think he keeps getting the points. Caleb Martin is up for 9.5 points on Sleeper. Shout out Sleeper for having that up already, because I don't think any book has Caleb Martin props up yet. But for 9.5 points, I'm very happy to take that. I think he was sick in games 1 and 2 as it came out, a non-COVID illness. I think he was still shaking that rust off in game 3 with 31 minutes. And you saw Kevin Love not get back on the floor after playing a bit in the first and third quarters. Those are now Caleb Martin's minutes. And then Jokic to get a double-double. That wasn't even available for game 3. But now, death taxes and Jokic double, baby. So let me throw that in there. And it's 3.58 on your money on sleeper picks. So shout them out, like I said, for having Caleb Martin up already.
All
Yeah,
right.
and I
Anything
think
else? Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to touch on it too because Josh mentioned the under for the team total for the Heat as like a potential play. I might go back. Like I hate going back to the same things in terms of two series. You bet something one day, you don't want to go the same thing. I might go back to the similar thing we kind of talked about on the show where I played the rebounding ladder with Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon. I might leave Porter out because we don't know his minutes, but that rebounding for the Nuggets, I mean, there's enough missed shots out there and there's enough distribution where I might just keep betting on Nuggets rebounding props because it's been profitable. I mean, it's been nice. Like they've hit these lines. Like, I hate doing the alt parlay thing, but my goodness, they've been sharing these rebounds for however long it's been.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, boys. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, that's all I have.
I think we'll be back tomorrow with some more hoop, right? So
All right. Are we doing a show tomorrow?
we'll talk about it. Hopefully we get some hoop in there and get some more picks for you guys.
All right. Well, Brian, Josh, appreciate it, man. We will hopefully talk tomorrow. Brian, congratulations on your over bet. Definitely not trying to drink you.
It's you are trying, JP, because it just got to fly out. So three runs.
That would be a scumbag move. That would be a scumbag move, and I am not a scumbag. So congratulations. How are you going to spend your winnings?
Well, as your friend, I'll tell you this.
More hard
I hope if I do win, it's by 5. So at least you get a push. How about that?
That's so nice of you. That's so kind of you.
You know what's funny? I was not limited by Bet Rivers for this bet, which is funny because it's the first time I bet first 5 on their books, which is always funny because you got to like that's what it is. You only get limited on certain props or certain like things. Right. And I don't want to say on air, but like obviously non-legal state, I had someone put it in for me, and I was like, they're like, what can you put down? I'm like, just try like 250. I was like, I don't know, see what they give you see what they limit be at. Usually it's like $40 or like $30. He's like, they took it, and I was like, oh, I was like, all right, like I mean, sure, go for it.
It's so nice. It's so nice of a sports book to take a bet. So kind of.
Yeah, it's harder than you think.
Yep.
All right, I appreciate you guys.
All right, y'all.
All right, see you, boys.
See you guys.
All right, let's talk a little hockey. He is the man of the hour. Bachelor parties. He's giving out 34 to 1s for Conn Smythes that are minus money now. It is GriffyBets. Griffy, what is going on?
Well, how are we doing? Good to be back.
I'm great. I'm glad you're on because we can talk this through. Hopefully people tailed your bet for Conn Smythe. I guess before we get to that, Game 3 tonight, Florida, small favorite. Takeaways from the first 2 games and anything you're betting tonight, side or total, props, whatever way you want to go here.
Yeah, I mean, takeaways is, I think, one of the things we alluded to last week was Bobrovsky had not played hockey in a long time, and he was playing really well in that. What's going to happen when he doesn't play for 9 days? And I think that magic has certainly faded a little bit. I mean, he got pulled early in Game 2. And Florida's just been so sloppy, so many penalties. Game 2, all those guys getting sent off in the third. It's like, what the hell's going on here? So if they're going to win tonight, they obviously got to clean up the penalties. I think history suggests Florida can win this game. I think the series might be toast. I looked back in the last 25 years. There's been surprisingly 15 instances of a team down 0-2 in the last 25 years.
Is this the 10 of those series or just the finals?
Just the Stanley Cup final.
Okay.
And 10 of those 15 times the team down 0-2 did win, and all 10 of those were a team returning home down 0-2. So history-wise, suggests Florida. I don't hate Florida. My approach is just load up on some Florida shot props because I just think they're going to be desperate to just make something happen, especially at home where throughout the year they were averaging close to 40 shots on goal per game for a while there during the regular season. So they're going to just let it rip. And that's kind of where I've invested tonight. I would lean them winning, but man, Vegas looks good. And if Florida can't stay out of the box, I mean, they don't stand a chance.
Is Florida just an 8 seed now? Like this, at the end of the day, I heard somebody mention this. Like, hey, at the end of the day, this is a 1 versus an 8. You can say Florida's done this and they've done that. Florida's starting to look like an 8 seed again. Is that an overreaction? Is Florida have some life here to make this a series, or is this like Vegas is just much better? I was listening to somebody who was like at the game, I think, and they said, man, seeing in person, Vegas just looks so much bigger, better, faster. It looked like almost the JV versus the varsity.
Yeah, So what's the question there? I'm sorry.
I don't know. We're just talking. We're just talking.
No,
is
I
Vegas
was changing my mic for a second? Sorry.
No, I appreciate you. Like most of the guests come on here and I ask a question and they just give their own answer. So I appreciate you caring what my question was. I guess the theory that Florida is reverting to being an 8 seed, and at the end of the day, this is a 1 versus 8 matchup, and it's just sort of looked like that. Is that sort of a fair way to look at this series now?
I don't think so. I think it's just. I mean, with hockey playoffs, it is so much about what is a goalie doing, and goalies get hot, and I think it's just Bobrovsky's lost the magic a little bit. I mean, they're running him back tonight. They seem confident in him, and I think the team in front of him knows they've been letting him down. So it's certainly not all on him. I don't think it has really anything to do with seeds at this point. I think it's just, I don't know. They start taking a couple penalties, and they get frustrated. I mean, Matthew Tkachuk, their most important player, he seems to be addicted to getting 10-minute misconducts. It's like a really weird hobby he's picked up. He's grabbed like 3 of them in 2 games. If you get sent off the ice for 10 minutes at a time, I mean, what are you doing? And I will say, Tkachuk in particular, I think he knows he's been blowing it. This morning, he definitely said, like, I need to take ownership of this game. I need the puck to hit my stick, and I need to start ripping shots and make something happen. So on that note, I did bet his shots. Sometimes when a guy says that, I just say, okay, let's do it. I'm going to blindly trust the words he just spoke to me. So I'm expecting a big game out of him. There's no way he could grab another misconduct. That would be absolutely wild. So I'm optimistic they can make this a series. I'd love to chat with you next week. If this series is over on Saturday, that would be a bummer. Would hate a sweep. So hoping they can make it this competitive a little bit.
Would you look at goal in the first 10? It's hit the first 2. They seem to be calling a lot of penalties early. Sometimes, look, as just a casual hockey fan, which I am at best, but I do enjoy betting it and watching it, it seems as if they'll call a penalty in the first period that they necessarily won't call in the third. If it's like a tie game, we saw a shorthanded goal in game 1 with 15 seconds left before the first 10. And we saw a pretty quick goal the other night. Goal in the first 10, usually like $1.40 favorite. Is that something you'd be interested in? I think I'm going to bet it.
I think FanDuel's doing a boost today, plus 125.
What's the minute? What's the max on that? Do you know?
Probably 20, 25.
Okay.
If I had to guess.
Okay.
It might depend on your wager size,
right?
As it sometimes does. But yeah, I've seen some people in Goldboys talking about that. I'm all for it. I think tonight's the night to let it rip with goals and shots. And I, for one, am kind of just going for it with a couple parlays. I mean, the season's almost over. It's been a great year. If I lose a little profits, taking a chance on how I think this game goes, so be it. But I think tonight's the night to build some lottos and just hope for some fireworks. So yeah, why not a goal in the first 10?
All right, let's have a little fun here. You were on here. It had to be 3 weeks ago. It was right before game 1 of the cup semifinals. So it was right before the conference semifinals started. I asked you best bet for Conn Smythe. You said Marchie. I think he was 34, 35 to 1. You have that bet, right?
Yeah, I got him at plus 3,600 right now, sitting in my FanDuel, and he's my best friend at the moment.
Are you hedging? He's minus money now. Are you hedging? Is there a way to hedge? A lot of people think, hey, Eichel could win it if it's not Marchie at plus 550. And again, shop around because there's some variance. A lot of people think Hill could win it. Can you hedge? Will you hedge? What do you talk to me here about how I handle this Marchie ticket, or just let it ride?
I, for one, am going to let it ride. But if you did want to hedge, I think it's got to be Eichel. I mean, goals are definitely king, I think, at this point. That's why he's favored for scoring 3 goals in these first 2 games. And again, it's for the entire playoffs. But, Eichel has had 2 assists in both games so far. So he's right there with points. And if Eichel starts – the thing is, Eichel's just not shooting. He's looking to create, and he's creating for March. So awesome for us. I'm going to let it ride. I don't think Hill has a chance just because he didn't play that first round. He got forced in because of injury. And I don't think it's going to be him, just based on especially how many goals Vegas has been scoring in the last 3 games has gone 6, 5, 7 goals.
Right.
That screams, let's reward the offense for this cup. So I'm going to let it ride. But if Eichel would have to start scoring like crazy, and Marchessault just goes ice cold. But I don't see it. The guy is ripping. I think he's going to score again tonight.
If you hadn't had a bet in Conn Smythe, let's just say somebody's listening. Hey, I have no bets in this. Is Eichel worth a bet? Is it worth jumping on Marchie at a little minus money, almost even money? What's the bet here if you had nothing?
I guess I'd say you could sprinkle on Eichel. I would rather just use that money on Marchessault to score tonight because he's got, I think, 12 goals in his last 9 games and 8 in his last 6 on the road. I'm not betting him to score because each goal makes me happier and happier, so I don't feel like I need another investment. I would, at this point, just keep hammering him to score because he's just setting up there, and I think a lot of it is the penalties too. Guys just ripping on the power play. So if that continues, he's gonna have a couple more.
He got the first goal the other night. It was around 10-1 to score the first goal. Is there anyone in that market you would look at? Is that something you like to play?
I don't usually do that. I don't think
Okay.
that's very fun. But in a narrative focus for a goal, me and AO and Goldboys, we're running Brandon Montour goal at plus 450. He is a new dad, so very scientific there. Just get that kid boost, but also, I mean, he's a defenseman. That's why his odds are like this. But he's been shooting like crazy, and he had a couple really nice chances game too. So we're taking a chance on his goal. If it wants to be the first, so be it. I also sprinkled at like a plus 7,800 parlay on him scoring twice and getting 5 shots, like just a pure degenerate. Because I did hear his new child immediately asked him to have a massive game 3.
Oh wow.
A nurse texted me about that. So
wow.
I don't know.
Good
I'm just doing what I'm told.
That's good information. Any feel on the total of 6? First 2 games have gone way over here. A total of 6. Any feel here on the total?
Yeah, I'd almost rather, if you could. I was looking at teasing it down to 5.5 and maybe tacking on Florida plus 1.5 on the puck line because I do think they could win or at least keep it close. I think that came in at plus 130. But yeah, I would lean the over here. I just think Florida is going to be so aggressive, and I think they're going to just focus on cleaning up their mistakes on the offensive end more than the defensive end. So I think that's going to open up chances for Vegas too to get involved. I could see a 4-3 game. I did bet on 2 overtime games in this series, so if they wanted to grab one tonight, that would be just wonderful. I could see a little 4-3 overtime games, so I like the over.
Is Florida at plus 400 to come back and win this series? Is that enough for you?
No.
Okay.
I think it's toast. And looking back on those last 15 Stanley Cup Finals, as I was talking about, only twice in those 15 times did a team come back and win the series. I don't see it. No, I'm out. But again, I'm just going heavy on Florida shot props. I got 5 guys basically. I built, sleeper plays, some FanDuel parlays at different levels. Sam Bennett, Carter Verhaeghe, Brandon Montour, Matt Tkachuk, and Alexander Barkov. Those are the 5 that I see getting their shots. So I've done all sorts of hodgepodge. I've watered a couple guys down to 2 or 3. I've done some at 4 together. I did Tkachuk and Bennett straight. I did all of them in sleeper with that Jimmy Butler free square from yesterday to like 44x my money. That's where my focus is tonight. I think they're just going to get 35 to 40 shots on goal. And if they don't, so be it. But, at this point, you just got to follow your heart at some point. That's how I think this game goes. Let's try to have a massive night and end this whole season right.
What is your best guess? So you think, it sounds like you think Florida wins tonight. Like if you had to guess, you think Florida wins tonight?
Yeah, I'd say Florida win. I feel like a gentleman's sweep is coming. Vegas gets
that was my next question. At home. Okay, so you think Vegas does get a split here and then finishes at home? Which
I would love. I hate when the team wins a championship on not their home ice or court. So yeah, I would love. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen here. I think Vegas is just better, more disciplined.
I kind of like it when they win on the road. I think it's cool when they win on the road and everyone's quiet and you can almost you hear the players celebrating just because there's no the fans aren't cheering and there's you really get a feel for it more and that's
But like last year the Avs win the cup with an OT goal. If that was at home, that would be an all-time moment.
No doubt.
And yeah, it was sure sadistically fun to watch those fans just the whole place get quiet. But I like loud noises.
So you think Florida tonight, but either way, Vegas probably gets a split and then wraps it up in Vegas. Boy, that's a hell of a place to win a cup too. If you win in Vegas, man, that's there's the worst ways to spend a night than as a Stanley Cup champion in Las Vegas.
I would say so. Yeah, and yeah, let's just bring this March. So let's get one more goal to pad pad his numbers here, and I think we got it. That'd be one hell of a hit.
right.
And it was really just a hedge on. I had the Dallas Stars winning it all, so I was just trying to hedge.
Yeah.
It's one hell of a hedge that I'd love to see to the finish line.
All right, before we go, last one. I just want one bet. Somebody listening, hey, I don't have any bets. I just want one bet. Your best bet for tonight is what?
Matthew Tkachuk over 3.5 shots. It's -108 on FanDuel. I had a 50% boost, so I got it +139. Or if you want to just go for it, I say parlay Tkachuk 5 shots and a goal, which I think will probably come in +400 to +500. Just he knows he's the most important player, and he knows he's got to step up, and he said it out loud. And he's been much better at home on the entire year. So let's let it rip. I think he's going to.
Griffy, you're the best. Let's get Marchie home. Let's cash this ticket, and appreciate it, man. This was a lot of fun. Enjoy the game tonight. That will do it for our show. Thank you to Pick It Sports, Sleeper Picks. I think we'll be back tomorrow with a little finals game 4 preview. But until then, good luck on all your plays. See you tomorrow.